Den of Thieves is an action heist thriller starring Gerard Butler, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and a few other guys. I'm pretty sure 50 Cent was in this movie. Now, was I looking forward to this movie? And I mean, it's a January movie. I have zero confidence in these things whatsoever because they never really turn out to be anything amazing. The only January movies that you could really argue are good are the Oscar bait movies that are now getting their wide releases. I will say, when I saw The Commuter, and because The Commuter wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, I went into Den of Thieves. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe this will surprise me too. Nope, January, still January. Okay, so getting right into this movie, it essentially focuses on these two different groups of people. On one side, you have this team of robbers that's based in Los Angeles. You know, they go wherever they can to rob places because they want to get money. But their big goal, like their big dream, their vision is to rob this Federal Reserve Bank and steal $30 million from them. That's eventually going to get discarded for whatever reason. I've never worked in a bank, so I don't understand how that works, but eventually banks just discard some money without serial numbers, so essentially that money can't be tracked. Their goal is to go in, steal the $30 million that's going to get discarded. It's money that can't be tracked. Essentially, it's the perfect crime, if you want to put it that way. And then on the other side, you have this group of cops and sheriffs that's led by Gerard Butler. They've been, you know, investigating these robbers for a very long time. They're really trying to bring them down. They've begun to figure out that their big plan is to rob this bank. They want to catch them before that happens. And at one point, Gerard Butler is able to discover that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is one of these robbers. So one night at a bar, he knocks him out, brings him, introduces him to his group of cops, tells him, it's like, guess what? We're like corrupt cops. You get arrested by us, we don't take you to the station, we fucking kill you. So here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna go back to your group of robbers, and you're gonna be our rat. And then, honestly, from this point forward, the movie's not really much of a heist, action, thriller movie. It's basically a long character development movie, and I gotta tell you, I was so bored for most of this movie. Like, seriously, from this point forward, all we get are like some flashbacks that explain a little bit about who the robbers are, who the cops are, you know, what everyone's story is, what Gerard Butler's story is. Just build up to how they're gonna commit the perfect crime, build up to how the cops are gonna try to bust them. And at no point, it went on for way too long. Nothing about it was compelling. Nothing about it interested me. Nothing about it really had me engaged. I'm not saying I have a problem if you're gonna spend most of the movie on character development and focusing on the characters. That's totally fine, but at least make the characters interesting and engaging. Make these stories about them compelling. And really, none of them were. I didn't really give a shit for anyone in this movie. At one point, Gerard Butler gets into an argument with his wife, and his wife takes their kids from him. And at one point later on in the movie, you see him, you know, trying to communicate with his daughter through the fence at school. And, you know, it's supposed to be a really nice, touching moment, and really, I didn't give a shit for it. I didn't really feel sympathy for Gerard Butler, because Gerard Butler in this movie, he's kind of a dick. I mean, the movie really only focuses on three guys. It's O'Shea Jackson Jr., Gerard Butler, and the leader of the robbers. I can't remember the name of the actor who plays them, but those are the three guys the movie focuses on. Each side has multiple gang members, and they don't really give a shit for either of them. None of them get their chance to shine in this movie. That's why I honestly can't remember if 50 Cent was in this movie, because I can't remember anything 50 Cent might have done in this fucking movie. Alright, now let me quickly get into performances. Gerard Butler was fine in this movie. I've seen him better, I've seen him worse. He was okay. And his character's kind of a scumbag. He's kind of an asshole. I mean, I get that he's the one pursuing justice, but there's really not a whole lot that's very likable about him. O'Shea Jackson Jr., I will say, he was probably the best in this movie, but it's kind of by default. He does a fine performance in this movie. I like that he's kind of caught between both of the sides. I like seeing what he brings to the table as a robber. But I'm gonna say this right now. He's not as good in this movie as he was playing his dad in Straight Outta Compton. That's the thing. Nobody in this movie gives a bad performance necessarily, but you can tell they're all there just to get a paycheck. They'll do what they have to do, and then they will move on to whatever project they're working on next. Like, let me allude to my favorite Fast and Furious movie, Fast 5, for a second, because that movie is, in its own way, a heist movie. One of the things I love about Fast 5 is, one, everyone who's involved in the big robbery that happens in Fast 5, every member of that crew, they all, at one point in the movie or another, they get their moment to shine. You learn more about their characters, you learn more about what they're capable of doing, why they were brought in by Paul Walker and Vin Diesel to do the job they need to get done. And then when the heist happens, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's cool. In this movie, though, when we do finally get to the official heist, the official bank robbery, again, Nothing about it engaged me. Nothing about it was really that fun. Not necessarily fun, but none of it was intense. None of it put me on the edge of my seat. I mean, there's one moment where the leader of the robbers is on the phone with the police and he's saying like, hey, guess what? You're gonna get me what I need or hostages are gonna start dying. And at one point, the guy's like trying to negotiate with him. He's like, oh, you're trying to negotiate? Guess what? You just killed a hostage. Hands up, takes a girl to the back, and probably kills her. I'm pretty sure he did one of those, like, you know, he fired a bullet to make everyone think he killed her, and, you know, really, she's still alive. Like, you know, it's like, alright, now you're gonna stay here and be quiet. Everyone's gonna think you're dead. But even when that girl was shot and killed, when the negotiations are happening, I'm just sitting there like, whatever, dude. This isn't doing it for me. And then at one point, this chase scene happens to, you know, try to bust the robbers after they've, you know, officially pulled off the heist that needs to happen. O'Shea Jackson Jr. gets cuffed in the back of Gerard Butler's cop car as Gerard Butler chases after the leader of the robbers. The leader of the robbers, he eventually dies. Gerard Butler comes back to his car. He sees that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is gone, and so are the money bags that contained the $30 million. And then the movie just tries to hit you with this big twist, this surprise ending that was supposed to blow your mind, but really I was just like, it doesn't make sense to me. You discover that O'Shea Jackson Jr. was, I guess, the true mastermind behind all this. You know, his goal was to get in on both sides with the cops, with the robbers, so that way he could really pinpoint exactly what he needed to do to fool both of them. So eventually, in the end, he could escape the cop car, get all the money for himself, go to London or Ireland, somewhere in the UK, and just live his life. At one point, Gerard Butler figures that out, and he's like, holy shit, how did I not see that coming? And I'm just sitting there like, I mean, I didn't see it coming. It doesn't make sense. Like, why? How was he able to figure this all out? Like, what is he? The movie didn't really do a good job of showing, like, how he was, in fact, capable of deducing everything, figuring out everything he needed to do to make everything go as planned so he could get $30 million for himself and get away completely scot-free. The movie, I just feel, just wanted a big surprise twist turn at the end, and they're just like, alright, you know what? Here it is. O'Shea Jackson Jr., mastermind behind everything. Boom. You're all mind blown. Yeah, not really. You want to really mind fucking audience and blow our minds? Take notes from Inception. So yeah, all in all, Den of Thieves, I really didn't give a shit for this movie. The acting in this movie is fine. I will say, there were a couple moments here and there in the final, you know, heist scene, in, you know, the big climax of the movie that had me interested, but the movie just bored the shit out of me with its character development. I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. The movie has such a long build-up that by the time the heist happens, you're like, this better pay off big time, and it really didn't pay off at all. And then it tries to have that big twist to the end, but really the twist for me just really didn't make much sense. In the end, I already can't remember much about this movie, and I can only imagine that by the end of this year, it's just gonna be completely dwindled away from my memory. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.